Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Nwa Power, December 3rd, 2019. I understand that I did not upload a video last week for Nwa Power, as I mentioned on the AEW Dynamite review, that there was nothing much to review on. A little bit of just coverage on what happened, what the card's going to be like, and so forth. And that was pretty much it. This episode had a little bit more dealing with matches, as well as kind of storyline telling, what's going on, the purpose of the matches, what was set up for the pay-per-view card going into the Fire event. So that was pretty much what this whole show was based on as well. But there was a couple of matches we got to see, such as Aaron Stevens facing Ricky Starks in a one-on-one matchup that was a complete, utter fucking joke. And he manages to cheat with the fucking guy, the question mark, and wins his match. Then we had in the main event of this show, the Rock and Roll Express going up against the fucking wild card tag team for the tag team titles of the NWA. And that was it. Pretty much everything else was more along the lines, and into the Rock and Roll Express actually beat the wild cards. So that was a complete and utter insane thing I didn't see coming and thought was completely nuts for them to actually do. So I didn't really agree with the idea, but they're having a rematch to have a tag team matchup again. The idea is that they're probably going to lose the tag titles back to the wild cards, and they're going to be the tag team champions once again. That's what I'm going with on that, with that prediction. There wasn't a lot of stuff going on. I think a lot of this has a lot to do with Jim Cornette's comment made during the episode 2 weeks ago that made my review blow the fuck up. I didn't even realize it until I read the information online for why it was taken down and it wasn't initially uploaded immediately. So that was a bit shocking, but it helped my channel get a little bit more viewership. So I was pretty happy with that. I got over 100 views on that one. Close to 200, by the way. Not much to speak of compared to what other YouTubers can do. But it's definitely accomplished for me, at least on this channel. So, there was a lot of talk about James Storm being upset with NWA management, Billy Corgan, the whole entire NWA roster almost, basically being a complete conspiracy. He thinks Nick Aldis was ducking him the entire time. At one point, he didn't want to say that because he thought he was a man's man champion. But after recent events, he's come to the conclusion that he thinks he's dodging him out of a championship match. Now, he did compete in a matchup that wasn't aired on the YouTube channel for these upcoming shows that we got to watch. He was in a triple threat match with him, Ken Anderson, and I believe it was Eli Drake. And he ends up winning that matchup by complete and utter chaos and confusion and wins by pure luck, basically. So that was pretty much that. He is really upset with a lot of things going on. He thinks there's a lot of conspiracy. Later on in the show, we had Nick Aldis kind of relay his side of the story, why James Storm is getting a title opportunity, even though he feels he doesn't deserve one, since he's been losing like non-stop outside of winning the NWA World title. So he says the reason why he's getting that opportunity is because he wanted the match. He wants James Storm to experience the idea that you're going to get what you want, but when you get what you want, you're going to get your ass kicked and wish you didn't get what you wanted in the first place. The explanation for the 2 out of 3 falls was simply because Nick Aldis feels that, hey, me and Cody Rhodes back in September of last year, or I think it was October, had a great matchup, and it was a 2 out of 3 falls, and feels that this should be the same situation. And at that time, Cody was the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. So, and Nick Aldis lost the title, so he had to beat him twice to get it back. So that was a very little touch there that they did later on in the show. We did get Melina, who was formerly a wrestler on WWE, who used to tag team with Joey Mercury and John Morrison, or known as Johnny Nitro at the time, has now got her little faction with 2 females, Thunder Rosa, and I believe the other name, give me a second, that name is Marty Bell. So those 2 actually are with Melina now at this point. So that was pretty much that. They actually end up attacking the NWA Women's Champion, which is Allison Kay, and they kicked the shit out of her with Melina. Originally, Allison Kay really was on the advantage here, but actually ends up getting demolished by 3 other opponents at one time. The Rock and Roll Express do a promo saying that they're old school wrestling, and old school wrestling is what NWA is all about, which they did a promo on. I thought that was pretty retarded. The next thing was Rock and Roll Express versus the Wild Cards for the NWA Tag Team Championships. I wasn't very impressed with this matchup. It was okay for 2 old timers competing against 2 young guys. So I actually was, thought it was a pretty good match for old timers, but nothing to scream home about. And NWA World Tag Team titles go to the Rock and Roll Express. That was pretty much that. From there, we actually had Nick Aldis make the final, appearance on this show, stating the new announcer replacing Jim Cornette will be Stu Bennett, formerly known as Bad News Barrett. Wow. Stu Bennett as a fucking announcer. This should be very interesting how well he does on the microphone and how well he'll gel with this ring announcer with NWA. I'm very impressed with this pick. Going with Stu Bennett. I've never heard him do commentary, but I've heard him on the mic. He's okay. But as an announcer, never heard him announce a match in his lifetime. My whole time I've watched wrestling, I've never heard this man do any kind of ring announcing. So, this should be very interesting and very unique for him. I think this is probably a first time ever. Maybe he's done some announcing for other smaller wrestling promotions in the UK. That's a possibility. If that's the case, I didn't know anything about it, so excuse me for my not knowing about that information. So don't shoot me down, But anyway, that was pretty much the show. There was not much to this show whatsoever. They went into the Fire match card, which I will go ahead and pull up for you guys just to give you the overall match card itself. So give me a moment while I pull this up on here. And I'm about ready to pull it up for us. Give me one moment. Into the Fire matches on Wikipedia. So, we have the question mark facing Trevor Murdoch. Don't know why the fuck that match is on a card, but it is. Allison Kay and Ashley Vox are facing Melina, Thunder Rosa, and Marty Bell. That's a 2-on-3, or actually it's a tag team match, so they're going to choose between Thunder Rosa and Marty Bell. I don't know why they wouldn't just do a 2-on-3 matchup just to make things interesting, but whatever. Eli Drake's facing Ken Anderson, which should be a very interesting matchup. Colt Cabana is facing Aaron Stevens and Ricky Starks in a triple threat match for the NWA National Championship. Aaron Stevens got this opportunity by beating Ricky Starks in a very crappy matchup that was full of controversy and a screwjob finish, pretty much. But because he won the match, he was granted an opportunity, and since Ricky Starks got fucked over out of the match, Colt Cabana decided to allow it to be a triple threat match for the NWA National Championship, and the main event is for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship with Nick Aldis versus James Storm for a 2-out-of-3 falls match. And that's pretty much the overall match card. So there's 5 matches on the card. I'm imagining this pay-per-view should go at least maybe 2 hours and 30 minutes, maybe max. No more than that, maybe 2 hours minimum. So I don't see that this is going to be a 3-hour show unless both of the 2 matches are 30 minutes long. That's about the only way I could see it. Another thing that I want to point out is they got Tim Storm playing as the special guest referee to the NWA World Championship title match. So that should be very interesting on how things go with that. Overall, this match card is okay. I mean, it's not great, but it was built up decently. It got some kind of a little bit of buzz, especially Nick Aldis and James Storm. Eli Drake and Ken Anderson is a great rivalry matchup. I actually really like that matchup. I think it's a good idea with these two. They're very similar in different ways, and in other ways they're not. So these two together as a rivalry should be interesting to watch and see how it unfolds. Them fighting in the same place they have these shows, I don't particularly think it's a good idea. But then again, if it's financial and things that they have to worry about, then I agree with their decision. They have to go with what they have available as it comes to financial end. But otherwise, I think this match card is pretty decent. It's just not that great. I'm not going to go out of my way to go, spend $19.99, or if it uprises in price, which they said it will, be like $24.99. I'm not spending $24.99 for this. So you're not going to get a review out of this unless I can catch it some way online for nothing. That's about the only way I can do it. And I'm not particularly too interested in doing shit like that anymore, unless I absolutely have to, because it's way too fucking expensive. Now, I'm not going to say that this isn't worth watching, but I'm not going to go out of my way to go ahead and see it, even for free. So that's just how I feel about it. I will continue the weekly episodes. I will review them, so forth and so on. If there's any way I can catch this on my free leisure and watch it, I'll review it, most definitely. But this is not worth my time to go ahead and actually go out of my way and do it. I have very limited time to go ahead and watch all these shows. I give you guys a full-on weekly program now. I understand the reason why I'm getting so many subscribers now is because I'm providing this stuff. I'm giving you guys a fucking weekly show. So I understand that, but I just have so much time in a day to do things, and not to mention I'm planning on moving out of the state of Florida, so I ain't got a whole lot of time on my hands to do all this shit. But personally, I thank you all for subscribing to the channel, taking an interest in these videos, and for the comments that were made in the last couple of videos I have done. I appreciate those comments. I appreciate everyone's opinions, even if I don't agree with them. I still appreciate your opinion, because that's what everything here is. It's just an opinion. Whatever I'm saying doesn't mean it's 100% the right way to do things. But I will say there are some things I say here that are solid, that are worthy to take notice to. and should be utilized in a program. So this program, it doesn't have anything wrong with it. I don't feel that there's any problems with it. They build them properly. They're not overblown. They're not overexposed. They're decent. And I mean, with this kind of show, I guess that's all you can really ask for right now. But eventually, at some point, they need to get a TV deal. Because eventually, this show is going to get stale after a while, using the same people over and over and over again. So Billy Corgan really needs to look into a possible TV deal with some smaller end television show. That's number one. The more important thing is not even really the TV show. The TV station that he picks is something that will give him more exposure and more attention. But at the same time, he needs to get some more people that we aren't used to seeing on a regular basis so that we have something to watch. That's it. Because watching the same fucking thing over and over again is a little ridiculous. By the way, actually it's 6 matches. Wikipedia fucked up. I forgot. The Rock and Roll Express are defending the tag team titles at Into the Fire against the Wild Cards. So that match is definitely happening as well. So that's actually 6 matches. So there is a possibility it could go 3 hours, but most definitely 2 hours and 30 minutes. Now, would I recommend anyone going out and spend their money for this? If you absolutely love what NWA is producing, and you got the money and you got the time to go watch it, by all means, I recommend it. Because they're not providing you shit. They're providing you decent stuff. And for the price they're asking for, it's not that bad. I just have a lot of subscriptions to a lot of different wrestling promotions, so I ain't going out of my way to spend more money on top of that to go watch it. So I just want to give you guys the heads up on that so that you guys don't get disappointed or think I'm going to go ahead and do the review. I know I said earlier, a couple of weeks ago, I would possibly do it, but with my financial state right now, I don't want to spend the money and don't feel the need to go ahead and watch this show. Not because it's bad, but because I got a lot of other things on my plate. Anyway, guys, hit the like button if you liked the video. Send a comment down below. I'll get back to you on that if you want to leave any comments or opinions on the show that you observed during the show. What you guys felt about it. How you feel about the build towards Into the Fire. And hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed to the channel. And I thank you very much for watching and have a great night, guys. Bye.